Welcome back to the Simple Cyber Defense. Today I want to share an update to my personal digital privacy journey that I've been on for the past 2 years. I'm sorry it took a while for me to give an update. I switched from an Android to an iPhone, driven by a growing concern for my personal data. For years, I was firmly in the Android camp. I loved the customization, the open ecosystem, and the sheer variety of devices. But over time, I started realizing that more and more of my personal data was being exposed. The amount of targeted ads, the feeling that my data was everywhere, it began to weigh on me. The first step I took was switching from my Android phone to an iPhone. This switch was an adjustment. Android and iOS operate on fundamentally different philosophies. Android, with its open source roots, offers a lot of flexibility for its users and a lot of user control. But that can sometimes come with a trade-off in terms of how consistently data is handled across different manufacturers and apps. And let's face it, Google is a data company that makes its business off of selling data to advertisers. Apple, on the other hand, embraces a more walled garden approach. This means that they have a tighter control over their hardware and software, which often translates to a more uniform and in many ways more secure environment. Initially, I found myself missing some of the granular controls I had on Android. The file system access, the ability to easily sideload apps, these were things I'd grown accustomed to. But as I spent more time with the iPhone, I started to appreciate the simplicity and the more intuitive privacy controls. Beyond the phone itself, I also took a look at my email habits. I realized a significant portion of the spam I was receiving was a direct result of using a single email address for everything: online shopping, newsletters, even signing up for free trials. My solution? Email segmentation. This is where I created multiple new email addresses, each with a specific purpose. One for personal communication, another for online purchases, a third for subscription newsletters, and yet another one for those one-off signups where I anticipated a lot of junk. By segmenting my emails, I drastically reduced the amount of spam hitting my primary inbox. It's like building a series of filters before anything reaches me. If a particular segmented email address starts getting inundated with spam, I know exactly where the leak is and can either abandon that email address or take steps to tighten its security. This simple change had a ripple effect beyond just emails. I noticed a significant reduction in spam text messages and even unwanted phone calls, likely because my personal information was less readily available to data brokers who often link these different contact points. Or maybe it was just a coincidence. I have a link in the description for a guide that I created for this email segmentation system that I used, if you want to give it a try. As for those targeted ads, those were also reduced. It's not like they completely vanished. That be probably an unrealistic expectation in our digital world. But the sheer volume of creepy accuracy has definitely diminished. Now for the big caveat. It's an important one. While I've experienced a noticeable improvement in my digital privacy with this switch and these new habits, the Apple ecosystem, by its very nature, is a closed one. Apple champions privacy as a core value, and they implement a strong encryption, strict app permissions, and features like app tracking transparency. They even tell us that they collect only the data they need, don't sell it to third parties, and use on-device processing where possible. They even offer features like private cloud compute for more complex AI tasks, ensuring us that data isn't stored and is only used to fulfill the request, and that independent experts can verify this. And I truly believe they are making a concerted effort to be more private than many other tech companies. However, because it's a closed ecosystem, we as users are ultimately relying on their word. There's no way for us to 100% verify with absolute certainty that every single byte of data they collect is being used exactly the way they promise it is. We can't see the underlying code or independently audit every aspect of their data handling in the system way you might theoretically with an open system project like Android. So it's a balancing act. For me, the improvements I've seen in reduction spam and less targeted advertising has been a significant enough to make the switch worthwhile. I appreciate the peace of mind that comes with Apple's privacy-focused design and their public commitment to it. But it's also important to remember and to remain aware that critical assets, even with companies that position themselves as privacy champions. But it's important to remain aware and critically critique companies because they may not be as privacy focused as they say they are. A question that I have is, can I make the Android system just as secure and private as the iPhone claims to be? In the next part of my journey, I'm taking a look at Graphene OS to see if I can do just that. That's all for today's episode, and I hope sharing my experience has given you some food for thought on your own privacy journey. Until next time.